A 32-year-old woman, Michelle Whittaker, disappeared after being dropped off at a truck stop. After false evidence, the breakthrough finally came 6 years later in the form of a telephone call. Michelle was one of 5 children and was very close to her entire family. Michelle's mom, Laura Andrews, said that she was a very happy kid until they moved to Gastonia, North Carolina, when she was 15. When Michelle became a teenager, she and her mother started to clash. Michelle believed her mother was too strict, and that made Michelle rebel. Michelle considered joining the Navy, but she fell in love with her recruiter instead. He was about 6 to 8 years older than her. After graduating high school, she married this man, but their marriage did not even last 1 full year. According to Michelle's mom, Laura, the marriage was awful, and Michelle had to get out. After her divorce, the family moved to Spartanburg, South Carolina. By the time Michelle was 30, she was struggling. She worked part-time as a waitress, but was barely getting by. One night after work, Michelle was offered a ride home by a man she just met, named David. David assaulted and beat her, leaving her face badly bruised. David was then arrested, and he pleaded guilty to assault and battery, and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. No matter what Michelle did, she felt as if she could not get her life together. She bounced around from her parents' home to friends' houses, and sometimes even slept in her car. Michelle was arrested for drunk driving, for which she had to complete a jail sentence. She was mistakenly released from jail instead of attending court-ordered treatment for substance and alcohol abuse. On August 5, 2002, Michelle got into an argument with her mom. Laura was not sure where Michelle went after that, but received a call a few days later from the man that Michelle had been staying with. He said that he had not seen Michelle in a few days. Laura was very worried and contacted the police, but they told her that Michelle was an adult and there was not much they could do. Laura had a sergeant friend from the neighborhood who also knew of Michelle's transient lifestyle. He told Laura that Michelle would most likely turn up soon. No one in Michelle's life had seen or heard from her for about 2 weeks. And on August 21, 2002, an official missing persons report was filed. The police obtained Michelle's bank records, but there was no activity on her account. The police spoke to Michelle's ex-husband, but ruled him out immediately. They talked to her family, co-workers, and people she was known to have spent time with. The police did discover that a man named Brad Wines was the last known person to have seen Michelle on August 16, 2002. Brad and Michelle met at a local pool hall where he said they hung out for a few hours and left to drive around on his motorcycle. Brad said that he dropped Michelle off at a truck stop the next morning. He told the police that Michelle was hoping to go to Myrtle Beach. He did not know where Michelle went after he dropped her off. To make sure Brad was telling the truth, he took a polygraph test which he passed. Michelle's family created a missing person flyer that they handed out at the truck stop, hoping someone would recognize her. However, no one had seen her. About a year into Michelle's disappearance, the case went cold. Laura begged local TV stations to keep Michelle's case alive in the news. In August 2005, about 3 years after Michelle disappeared, the police received an anonymous letter. The author said that they knew where Michelle's body was and had drawn a map. It said that Michelle was near the water's edge, near tall pines, and at the edge of the pond. The location was only 25 miles from the truck stop where Michelle was dropped off. The police spent 2 days searching the area, but they did not find anything. It was apparent that the letter was a hoax, and DNA confirmed that the letter had been written by a woman. The police eventually told Michelle's family about the letter. They were disgusted that someone would create that and give them false hope. 2 months later, in October, another case made the headlines. A man named Jonathan Vic was arrested for the assault and slaying of Dana Satterfield, a beauty salon owner. Dana was brutally slain in her salon. The salon was located about 12 miles from where Michelle was last seen, and suspicions fell on Jonathan because it was rumored that he had been a customer at the diner where Michelle worked. Jonathan had a connection to Dana because his mom, Mary Ann Vic, had been one of her customers at the salon. Jonathan was also a suspect in the disappearance of his ex-girlfriend, Heather Sellers, who also worked as a waitress at a Waffle House at the time of her disappearance. There was never any hard proof that Jonathan had a connection to Michelle. In November 2006, Jonathan Vic was convicted of kidnapping, criminal sexual conduct, and slaying. He was sentenced to life plus 60 years. He was never charged in connection to the disappearances of Michelle or Heather. Michelle's family held a vigil for her after 5 years of being missing. Laura also created a webpage with pictures of Michelle throughout many years of her life. In August 2008, a woman called the police. Lieutenant William Gary answered the call. The woman on the other end said that Michelle Whittaker was alive and living in Oregon. The woman had seen Michelle's case on an episode of Forensic Files, as well as the webpage that Laura had created. She recognized Michelle as the woman who was living with her friends. The woman wanted to prove that she was telling the truth, so she sent a photo of Michelle to Lieutenant Gary. The Spartanburg police contacted the Oregon State Police. An officer went to the home where Michelle was living, and Michelle confirmed that she was indeed Michelle Whittaker. Michelle's fingerprints also confirmed she was the missing woman. Laura finally received the phone call she had been hoping for every day for the past 6 years. Her daughter, 38-year-old Michelle Shelley Whittaker, has been found alive and well after disappearing. The police told Michelle that her family had been searching for her for 6 long years. Michelle said that she was tired of living the way she was living. After the fight she had with her mom, she drifted around and decided that her family would be better off without her. She originally wanted to go to Myrtle Beach and get a job, where she would be paid under the table. Michelle met Brad on her last night in Spartanburg and convinced him to drop her off at the truck stop. She said she caught a ride and ended up in Las Vegas, California, and eventually Oregon. Michelle claimed that she used her real name and did not know that her family was searching for her. She said she has a lot of guilt for what she did to her family and for having the police spend money and resources looking for her. Michelle is closer than ever to her family, especially to Laura.